Shalom everyone. Is Israel planning to strike the nuclear facilities in Iran before they build nuclear bombs? Israel just held its largest military drill in modern history. I have critical updates for you, so stick around. Let's start from the top. Iran is continuing to base itself militarily in Syria, north of Israel, as it wants to launch attacks from Syria on Israel. Iran is also sending military equipment to its proxy in Lebanon and Syria, Hezbollah. Now, in response to that, Israel has adopted a very smart policy in the days of the Netanyahu administration that it will not wait for our enemies to attack us, but instead we will initiate steps to prevent such plans from even becoming a reality. It's called the war between wars. The Israeli Air Force has done something incredible and very wise to stop the Iranians from sending cargo planes with military equipment to Syria. According to the reports, Israel struck the runways of the Damascus International Airport that are used by Iran to send military equipment and simply shortened the runways. It also targeted Iranian military facilities near Damascus, one of the many strikes that took place behind enemy lines to stop concrete attacks from reaching Israel. Now, it would be an understatement to say that the Russians don't like it. We all remember how Syria accidentally downed a Russian surveillance military plane thinking that it was the Israelis. They strongly opposed the Russians that Israel works in Syria because Syria is basically Russia. Bashar al-Assad has no say. He has a puppet government controlled by Putin. And Israel is walking on eggshells because it doesn't want to hit the Russians, but at the same time reserve our right of self-defense against the Iranians. Just this week, Russia and Syria held a joint Air Force training on the border with Israel, the Golan Heights, which placed the Israeli military on high alert for a possible attack on Israel from the north. Now it reminds me of the Bible verse from Jeremiah 50. A nation from the north will attack her and lay waste her land. But let's go a little bit far from the northern border and let's head to Iran. And before we reach Iran, please subscribe to my YouTube channel to get the latest updates and get real news. Iran is trying to force the West to rejoin the nuclear deal because it serves the Iranian regime more than the world itself. It announced that it is removing 27 IAEA cameras from its nuclear facilities after facing international condemnation for having secret nuclear facilities that it hadn't declared about. Now, especially given the fact that Iran announced its ambition to destroy Israel openly. Israel's policy is that with or without a deal, Israel will make sure that its future is guaranteed. The Israeli Air Force developed a special technique that extends the range of its F-35 Adir fighter jet, which practically means that the Israeli most advanced fighter jet can fly from Israel to the Islamic Republic without requiring mid-air fueling. But here's where things get even more interesting. Israel announced that the Israeli Air Force gets a new bomb developed by Rafael, an Israeli defense company. The bomb is autonomous and protected against jamming and electronic warfare systems, and it can be carried by, listen carefully, by the F-35 without affecting its stealth capabilities. The Israeli Air Force held 4 large-scale drills simulating attacks against Iran over the last month. And if that's not enough, also last month, the IDF held the largest training exercise in Israeli history called Chariots of Fire, which was partially held in Cyprus and included thousands of soldiers, also from special units. So yes, Israel is very serious about the nuclear threat coming from Iran. But unfortunately, we have leaders around the world who do not understand this true danger. Signing a deal with Iran will not stop them. Just like when North Korea signed a nuclear deal with the United States in 1994. It most certainly didn't stop North Korea.
The United States and North Korea yesterday reached agreement on the text of a framework document on North Korea's nuclear program. This agreement will help to achieve a long-standing and vital American objective.
The world needs strong leaders who are not afraid of taking strong steps. And standing with Israel is standing with the future of democracy and freedom, because Israel is blocking and stopping terrorism from reaching Europe, Asia, and the Americas. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to stay connected to the real news. I'll see you next time.